Hello and welcome to CSUF News. I'm Ksenia Taranuk.
And I'm John Antonio.
Distracted driving seems to be a common societal problem, and the start of the new year will bring a new law to curb cell phone habits. Let's tune in to Sarah Hidalgo with more information.
California motorists should take note of the new law which prohibits drivers from holding and operating a cell phone while driving, unless the driver has a voice-operated or hands-free option.
Assembly Bill 1785 has to do with cell phone use while driving or operating a motor vehicle.
Over half of all the road accidents in the United States involves a cell phone. University police have cited 99 people since the beginning of this year. The new updated law will prohibit drivers from taking selfies, playing games, finding music, and many other applications drivers are using on their phones.
When I need to go somewhere, I usually look up the directions before I head out, and then I usually put it in my cell phone mount or cell phone holder.
The law says that if it is mounted either attached to the windshield, of course if it's attached to the windshield it can't block your vision, but if it's attached to the windshield or mounted to the dash, those mounts are all okay. And then you can use your GPS while it's mounted. But if you're going to type in your address or your destination, you need to do that before you start moving.
The fine for the first offense starts at $20, and the fine for the following offenses starts at $50. Both fines do not include court fees. This new law will take effect starting January 1st, 2017. I'm Sarah Hidalgo, reporting for CSUF News.
Thank you, Sarah. California is struggling with a statewide drought, and it's affecting local wineries. Here's Robert Pike with the story.
With summer winding down, it's now time for Temecula's 40-plus wineries to begin harvesting the grapes. These wineries are the lifeblood of Temecula's economy, providing a huge tourist destination for visitors on the weekends. However, the extreme heat and lack of rainfall have proven to be huge problems for the wineries. With intense heat waves lasting for days in the triple digits, and having only received less than an inch of rain this year, many wineries have felt the effects of Mother Nature. Affecting not only the vines, but also their pocketbooks, winery owners are having to adapt to the dry conditions. I was able to sit down and talk with a few members of the wine industry and see firsthand just how devastating the drought has been to the Temecula Valley wineries. Penny from Lorimar Winery had this to say about the heat wave and what it did to the vines.
We lost plants, like completely lost Viognier and Muscat plants, and then we didn't get a lot of fruit. So everyone in this valley is going to have to source fruit this year.
But just how much water do the vines actually need? Eric, the assistant winemaker at Cougar Winery, says the gallons needed are in the thousands.
We can have anywhere per acre like 3,200 gallons of water. It's quite a bit.
Now, how has the drought affected the winemaking in Temecula Valley? Amanda from Asia Winery had this to say.
The drought has affected us in particular because we had to harvest early this year versus later, like we usually do. It changes the chemistry of the wine when it's too hot, and therefore it doesn't make good wine.
The Temecula Valley Convention and Visitors Bureau says annually Temecula generates about $63 million in revenue just from people visiting the wineries every year. If the wineries were to decide to stop watering their plants, this could spell economic disaster for Temecula as it is. With the drought continuing, and with tourism in full swing at Temecula Valley, winery owners are going to have to think on their feet and come up with new ideas if they plan to beat the heat. I'm Robert Pike for CSUF News.
Thanks, Robert.
We have more on the local issue here. Brenda has an update on the increasing homelessness in Orange County.
California housing reducers are also drying up as more people find themselves without homes and hit the streets to investigate.
Homelessness is rising in Orange County, up 5% from last year, according to a new survey. 211 Orange County, a nonprofit that conducted the survey, says the recent spike in homelessness is due mainly to one reason: the skyrocketing cost of rent. Rent has been steadily rising in Southern California over the last 6 years, up 6.8% from just 1 year ago. And if you want an apartment, it'll cost you around $1,848 is the average. As people are forced out of their homes due to the rising cost of living, they must find alternative places to take refuge: on the streets, in shelters, or in their cars. Lucas Freebauer used to have an apartment with some friends, but when he lost his job, he had to make his 1980s Mercedes his home.
It's been a couple months, I think. I was living with like some buddies in an apartment for a while. Got overwhelmed with the bills that I had and the job I had wasn't giving me enough, and then had some trouble at work because they were getting rid of a lot of people.
While Lucas is technically homeless, he hasn't sought any assistance from government programs or nonprofits. He's been working, but just doesn't make enough to afford an apartment.
I still do some like under the table tile work. I mean, it's enough for my food and like keep my car going, but that's about it.
For Lucas Freebauer, he will continue working and saving money while living out of his car.
Just trying to save enough money. I don't want to be in my car for like much longer. It's all right, and thank God I have my car, but it's really not the. I'm hoping for a change for sure.
This is Ian Schwederman reporting from Costa Mesa, CSUF News.
Thank you, Ian. We'll be back with a word from our sponsors. Sorry.
Along with weight loss, it's one of the many ways to fight osteoarthritis pain. For more information on managing pain, go to fightarthritispain.org.
Welcome back to CSUF News. A notorious CSUF campus is the issue lack of parking, and there's no relief in sight. Raymond has the details.
Here at Cal State Fullerton, long-standing parking problems have students wondering if the amount of money for a parking permit and time are really worth it. Already by 9 a.m., the three main parking structures are out of spaces for students. Inside the parking structure near Nutwood, it is a typical sight to see students parked alongside the elevators, hoping passing students will give them their parking space. Sometimes this process can take up to an hour, leaving students driving aimlessly through the packed rows of cars. For students like Edmund Magpante, these parking issues have added extra stress to the already hectic school day.
For class, I do extracurriculars. I have class on Friday, I have class here on Wednesday, but because of that, I'm late sometimes, and I hate to be late. And fortunately, my professors are more lenient, but there were other classes out there, like if you have 2 tardies, you're out of the class or you fail. So this parking situation can really affect someone else's grades too.
Due to the packed parking structures, many students find themselves parking in the back lots of Fullerton, like in Lot A, but by 9:30, you run the risk of not finding a parking either. Compared to other schools, CSUF charges a higher rate for parking permits. At CSU Long Beach, a semester parking permit is only $123, $100 less than what Fullerton charges. The heavy congestion of parking this semester have students like David Hernandez questioning whether paying over $200 is their best option.
You don't really get a parking spot. You kind of just have to still fight for one, and at this point, honestly, I just kind of find somewhere off campus, or I don't know, it's not worth it at all.
At Cal State Fullerton, this is Raymond Palayo, CSUF News.
Thanks, Raymond. Driving frustration also extends beyond the campus to nearby Brea. Lucas explains residential concerns over a new construction plan.
This chain link fence behind me represents all of the changes that residents of Brea are not yet ready to see. The thought of urbanization is unwelcome to those who live here, behind me over here, and for those who live right off of State College Boulevard. For months, residents have been protesting the construction project here at the Brea Civic and Cultural Center. Their voices have been heard during city council meetings, but their concerns cannot be addressed directly. The project is being developed by Hines, a property management company that currently owns land in Brea. Their property is on the north side of the intersection of Birch Street and State College Boulevard. The project has 3 separate installments that seek to add new apartments and a hotel to the 30-acre property. Sarah Barnes Ramos is a 4-year resident of Brea who lives in the Avocado neighborhood adjacent to the planned development area. Sarah's familiarity among other Breans made her a leading figure for residents who are unhappy with the project.
Their fear is Brea has always been a small, quaint town. And people love Brea for that, whether you live in Brea or not.
The site of the project is across the street from the Brea Mall, which brings in car traffic daily.
State College, Lambert, and Birch are 3 of the 4 major streets. The only other major street would be Imperial Highway. So right here is where we get a lot of traffic, and lo and behold, this is where it's going to be built.
Barnes Ramos understands the concerns of residents of Brea. Neighbors like Anita Cruz.
Personal biggest grievance is the fact that I'm going to have this monolithic thing looking straight down into my backyard.
With this lot, what you see is what you get. The proposed project will not be discussed by the Planning Commission until it is made an item on the agenda. This could be sometime in November. As for Brean residents, they can only continue to fight their fight. I'm Lucas Dermagardician for CSUF News.
That concludes today's local updates. I'm Ksenia Taranyuk.
And I'm John Antonio.
I'm Brenda Villa. Thank you for watching CSUF News.
You got it. Yeah.